Alyssa Thomas knees Caitlin Clark in the groin, then puts her fist into Kit Clark's neck, and then nearly stomps on Clark while stepping over her. The ball is already gone by the time any of that happens, and despite a ref being right there, they didn't call anything. Not long after that, Clark was again targeted by what her coach calls...
As the discussion continued to grow, it became clear that this was no longer about a single sequence in one regular season game. It had evolved into a much larger conversation about the future direction of the WNBA and how the league plans to handle moments that instantly become national headlines. Every major sports network seemed to have its own opinion. Former players offered completely different perspectives, and fans spent hours comparing similar plays from previous seasons in an attempt to determine whether officials had been consistent. Some believed the physicality had crossed a line that should never be accepted in professional basketball, while others argued that slowing down every replay frame by frame can make almost any collision appear more dramatic than it looked in real time. That difference in interpretation is exactly why this story refused to disappear after the final buzzer. Instead of fading away like most regular season controversies, it became even bigger with every passing hour because millions of people were now discussing not only what happened, but what it could mean moving forward. The spotlight surrounding Caitlin Clark has created a unique situation that very few professional athletes have experienced so early in their careers. Every arena she visits becomes one of the biggest events on the schedule, ticket demand increases dramatically, television audiences often rise, and social media engagement reaches levels that were once unimaginable for a regular season WNBA game. With that kind of attention comes enormous pressure for everyone involved. Referees know every whistle will be analyzed. Coaches understand every post-game comment could become a headline. Opposing players recognize that any emotional interaction involving Clark may dominate sports conversations for days. At the same time, Clark herself continues playing under expectations that extend far beyond scoring points or winning games. Every possession is examined, every reaction is replayed, and every controversial moment becomes another chapter in a much larger narrative about the league's rapid growth. That reality has created an environment where basketball and public perception are becoming increasingly connected. Fans are no longer simply discussing wins and losses. They are debating officiating philosophy, player safety, competitive balance, media coverage, and the responsibilities that come with being the face of a rapidly expanding league. Some longtime supporters argue that physical competition has always been part of basketball and should not suddenly become controversial simply because more cameras are watching. Others believe that as the league grows, expectations surrounding player protection should grow as well, particularly when dangerous situations have the potential to overshadow the incredible talent on display. Those competing viewpoints continue to fuel one of the most passionate debates in women's basketball today. Meanwhile, analysts have repeatedly pointed out that the conversation itself demonstrates just how much the sport has evolved. Only a few years ago, many regular season games generated limited national discussion. Today, a single controversial possession can dominate sports television, trend across multiple social media platforms, inspire thousands of online debates, and lead to countless video breakdowns from fans, former athletes, journalists, and content creators around the world. That level of attention reflects the league's remarkable increase in visibility, but it also creates new challenges because every decision now carries greater consequences. Officials must make split-second judgments under intense scrutiny. Players compete knowing that every emotional reaction could be viewed millions of times before the day is over. Coaches are expected to answer difficult questions immediately after highly emotional games, often before they have even had an opportunity to review what happened themselves. In many ways, this controversy has become a reflection of the modern sports landscape, where one viral clip can shape an entire national conversation within minutes. Whether someone believes the contact was excessive or simply part of a physical basketball game, almost everyone agrees on one point.
Generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had two cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again, absolutely unacceptable.
Consistency matters because fans expect the same standard to apply every single night, regardless of which teams are playing, where the game is being held, or which athlete happens to be involved in the play. Whether the contact involves a rookie, a veteran, an MVP candidate, or the league's biggest star, supporters want to believe that the rules will be enforced fairly and consistently. That expectation has become one of the greatest challenges facing every professional sports league, and the WNBA is certainly no exception. In today's sports world, every controversial call is replayed from multiple camera angles within minutes, analyzed in slow motion across television broadcasts, dissected by former players on podcasts, debated endlessly on social media, and discussed by millions of passionate fans who all believe they know exactly what the officials should have done. The speed at which those conversations spread means that one decision made in a fraction of a second can remain in the headlines for days or even weeks. That reality places enormous pressure on referees, who must make split-second judgments in one of the fastest environments imaginable, while knowing that every whistle, or every whistle that never comes, will be examined frame by frame by people watching around the world. It is a responsibility that has become increasingly difficult as the league continues attracting larger audiences and greater national attention. Every nationally televised game now feels like a major event. Every controversial moment becomes a trending topic, and every officiating decision is immediately compared to similar plays from previous games in an effort to determine whether the standard is truly being applied equally. Those comparisons often become the center of the conversation because fans naturally want transparency and fairness above all else. They understand that officials are human and that mistakes will happen, but what they struggle to accept is the perception that similar plays might receive different rulings depending on the circumstances. That perception, whether accurate or not, has become one of the biggest talking points surrounding the league as its popularity continues to grow. At the same time, the WNBA finds itself balancing two responsibilities that are equally important. On one side is the desire to preserve the physical, competitive style of basketball that players, coaches, and longtime fans appreciate. Professional basketball has never been a non-contact sport, and intensity has always been part of what makes the game exciting. Hard defense, aggressive rebounding, physical screens, and emotional competition are all elements that have existed for generations. On the other side is the league's responsibility to protect its athletes from unnecessary or dangerous contact while ensuring that the game's biggest moments are decided by skill and execution rather than preventable injuries. Finding that balance is far easier in theory than it is in practice. Every game presents different situations, different matchups, different personalities, and different levels of emotion, making consistency one of the hardest goals to achieve. As more viewers tune in and the stakes continue to rise, every controversial moment will naturally receive more attention than ever before. What may once have been viewed as an ordinary basketball play can now become the subject of national debate simply because millions of people are watching. That is one of the realities that comes with the WNBA's remarkable growth. The league is reaching new audiences, attracting larger television audiences, expanding its commercial opportunities, and introducing women's basketball to fans who may never have followed the sport in previous years. Increased popularity is a tremendous achievement, but it also brings greater scrutiny. Every decision carries more weight, every headline reaches a larger audience, and every controversy has the potential to shape public perception in ways that were almost impossible just a few seasons ago. This is why discussions surrounding player safety, officiating, and competitive fairness have become so significant. They are no longer isolated conversations taking place among dedicated basketball fans. They have become mainstream sports stories followed by people who may be watching the WNBA for the very first time. For league officials, coaches, players, broadcasters, and fans alike, the challenge moving forward will be maintaining confidence that the game is being officiated fairly while allowing its natural competitiveness to remain intact. How successfully that balance is achieved could influence public perception for years to come because the current conversation is no longer centered on one game, one possession, or even one player. It has evolved into a much broader discussion about the WNBA's identity during one of the most important periods in its history, how it plans to manage unprecedented attention, how it can continue building trust with longtime supporters while welcoming millions of new viewers, and how it intends to navigate the extraordinary spotlight that continues to grow brighter with every passing season.